In the early years of the 20th century, as science raced forward and the world braced for change, there unfolded a story so strange and improbable that it continues to baffle historians and thrill curiosity seekers to this day. This is the tale of the Great Emu War of 1932, an event that pitted the Australian military, armed with machine guns and military strategy, against thousands of flightless birds roaming the vast and arid landscapes of Western Australia. It is a story that seems ripped from the pages of satire, yet remains a true and remarkable episode in the annals of history. The backdrop for this bizarre conflict was set by hardship and survival. In the years following World War I, many Australian soldiers returned home to find a government eager to reward their service. The answer was land. Vast tracts of Western Australian countryside were allocated to these veterans, who took up farming with hope and determination. But the land was harsh, the soil often unyielding, and the challenges relentless. As the 1930s dawned, the world slipped into the Great Depression, and the farmers' struggles deepened. Wheat prices plummeted, and the Australian government's promises of assistance fell short. It was in this climate of desperation that a new and unexpected adversary appeared on the horizon. Each year, as the Australian spring turned to summer, massive flocks of emus, large, powerful, flightless birds native to the continent, would migrate from the inland to the coast, seeking food and water. In 1932, the migration was especially severe. Some 20,000 emus descended upon the wheat fields of Western Australia, trampling fences, devouring crops, and creating chaos for the already struggling farmers. The birds proved surprisingly destructive, capable of flattening entire fields in a matter of days and leaving behind a trail of devastation. The farmers, exasperated and desperate, appealed to the government for help. They sought the expertise of the military, believing that only organized, armed intervention could stem the tide of destruction. The government, eager to appease the veterans, and perhaps underestimating the task at hand, agreed to deploy soldiers armed with Lewis machine guns and ample ammunition to Western Australia. Thus began one of the strangest military operations ever recorded. In early November 1932, under the command of Major G.P.W. Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery, the operation commenced. The plan was straightforward: locate the emu flocks, approach carefully, and open fire. The soldiers believed that with their superior firepower and tactics, they would swiftly bring the emu menace to an end. But nature, as it so often does, had other plans. The emus, despite their ungainly appearance, proved astonishingly fast and elusive. With their powerful legs, they could reach speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, and their instincts for survival were keen. Whenever the soldiers approached, the birds would scatter in all directions, rendering coordinated attacks nearly impossible. The machine guns, designed for human adversaries in the trenches of World War I, were ill-suited to tracking and firing on swift, unpredictable birds across open terrain. On the first day, the soldiers opened fire on a group of 50 emus. The birds scattered instantly, and only a handful were felled. On another occasion, a truck-mounted machine gun was brought in to chase down a particularly dense flock. The rough terrain caused the truck to bounce and sway, making accurate fire impossible, and the gun jammed after only a few rounds. Time and again, the emus outmaneuvered the soldiers, their long legs carrying them beyond the reach of bullets. Within a week, the operation became a source of bemusement and frustration. Reports filtered back to the government and the press, which seized upon the story with glee. Headlines blared about the Emu War, and journalists chronicled the military's inability to contain the bird invasion. It seemed that the emus, with their keen senses and erratic movement, were not only surviving the onslaught, but thriving in the face of adversity. After several days, the military regrouped and attempted new tactics. They focused on targeting smaller groups of birds, hoping to improve their success rate. But the results were still disappointing. According to Major Meredith's own reports, some 2,500 rounds of ammunition were fired, but only a few hundred emus were confirmed killed. The rest scattered into the bush, returning to the fields at the first opportunity. By the end of the campaign, it was clear that the emus had won. The operation was quietly called off, and the soldiers withdrew, Having failed to stem the avian tide, the emus continued to ravage the fields, their numbers barely dented by the military's efforts. The farmers were left to seek other solutions, eventually turning to bounty systems and improved fencing to protect their crops. The Great Emu War quickly became the stuff of legend. The idea that a modern military force, equipped with the latest weaponry, could be bested by a flock of birds was both humbling and darkly humorous. The story spread far and wide, and for decades it has served as a cautionary tale about underestimating the challenges of nature and the limitations of human ingenuity. Yet beneath the humor lies a deeper lesson about the unpredictability of life and the resilience of both nature and people. The farmers, despite their struggles, persisted. The emus, symbols of the wild Australian landscape, endured. And the episode itself became a beloved chapter in Australia's national story. A reminder that sometimes, in the battle between man and nature, the outcome is anything but certain. Over time, the Great Emu War has been retold in books, articles, and even songs. Its details sometimes exaggerated, but its core truth enduring. It stands as a testament to the strangeness of history, to the moments when reality outpaces fiction, and to the enduring ability of the natural world to surprise, confound, and inspire. So the next time you hear a story that seems too strange to be true, remember the Great Emu War, a time when soldiers squared off against birds, and the birds, against all odds, emerged victorious. In the vast tapestry of human history, it is these curious, improbable episodes that remind us of the world's endless capacity for surprise and wonder. Although some of my photos do not display the actual story, the story is still both strange and true. Please help me grow my channel as I continue to find other similar stories by subscribing, ringing the bell, and a thumbs up would be so appreciated. Until next time, this is Shaylin, hoping my channel, and if you know a good story, let me know to share with other like-minded friends. Till next time, live your best life.